Over the summer, I spent a good couple of weeks out on my village surgery tour back home. And one day I turned up outside Dent Post Office at lunchtime in the heart of the Dales. And I should have got there 10 minutes earlier, but there was a 15-sheet pile-up on the road from Sedbergh. Anyhow, once I got there, waiting for me was an enormous throng of well-wishers. And after I'd spoken to him, the postmistress came out and handed me a postcard. She said, "A couple of walkers came by this morning, gave me this." They weren't from round here, Tim. Anyhow, the card was from our next speaker and her lovely husband. Joe Swinson and Duncan Haynes were walking the Dales Way. Duncan sporting outstanding Bradley Wiggins-style sideburns. Caused quite a stir in Dentdale. And we ended up taking Joe and Duncan to the pub in Kendal later that night just for research purposes. So it turned out, because having visited a Cumbrian post office and a local pub, only a couple of weeks later, Joe became the Minister for Post Offices and Pubs. So I am claiming that as her first ministerial visit. Well, Joe was absolutely superb in her debut ministerial questions early this month, but I didn't expect anything else. She's a fantastic local MP, a superb advert for our party, and will be very welcome to return back to Cumbria, the home of Postman Pat, any time she likes. Joe Swinson.
Conference. We may now be a party of government, but it is reassuring to know that some things don't change. You know, the familiar raffle prizes which circulate from one social gathering and then turn up at the next. Bob Russell's unique taste in waistcoats. And our annual seaside gathering still has a certain Psephologists Anonymous feel to it. Here's my checklist of the warning signs. Do you have an obsessive knowledge of past election results? Would your ideal bank holiday be spent watching BBC Parliament's rerun of the 1974 general election? Did you just think to yourself, which 1974 general election? And somewhere at home, is there a box where you save copies of all the focuses and the by-election leaflets that you have delivered? I confess, I have one. Rifling through it is like some kind of archaeological dig when you see the different past campaigns, the layers of past previous haircuts, and what was once cutting-edge technology, literally cutting and pasting with Pritt stick. So let me take you on a trip down my memory lane. Where it all began, my first experience of a real campaign was the Romsey by-election in 2000. What a sensational result, winning the Tories' 50th safest seat. And what a fantastic MP in Sandra Gidley. A marvellous achievement that twice she successfully defended Romsey at general elections against all the odds. Later that same year, we had the Tottenham by-election. I was sitting my final university exams, and frankly, I find delivering leaflets in the sunshine far more appealing than studying in the library. In fairness, I found our candidate there pretty appealing too. When I moved to Yorkshire, I was very proud to be part of the team in Halton Price and Howden, where we cut David Davis's majority from more than 7,000 to less than 2,000. And then in Hull, all right, I may not have beaten Prescott, but the next year we won all 3 councillors in the very ward where he lives. Brent East was an amazing win from Labour. And in Sarah Tether, we elected a fantastic fighter for the Liberal cause. As well as a role model to inspire young women, including me. I really enjoyed campaigning for other women too, so nearly a win with Nicola Davies in Hodge Hill, and a vibrant campaign for Jodie Dunn in Hartlepool. I first met Tessa Muntz at the Ipswich by-election. I was impressed by her force of personality and sheer grit. And after her speech this evening, I'm sure I'm not the only one in this hall who looks forward to campaigning to help get Layla elected to Parliament too. My favourite ever leaflet was from my 2005 campaign, courtesy of James Graham. East Bartonshire and New Labour, the love affair is over. And incidentally, I think we could do with a bit more fuchsia pink on our leaflets in general. Then in 2006, risking the wrath of the comic strips copyright, we elected Willie in Dunfermline. Now, of course, he's our very own Scottish leader. Yes, Liberal Democrats, we certainly do love our leaflets. It's a two-horse race. Tories can't win here. Thought I'd finish that one quickly. Working all year round, not just at election time. But conference, do you know what I love even more? It's that looking through my box of leaflets, we're now delivering the things in government that we've been delivering through letterboxes for decades. In 2005, I campaigned for a pensions boost. Now, thanks to Liberal Democrat Pensions Minister Steve Webb, we've seen the biggest ever rise in the state pension and enshrined our Lib Dem triple lock guarantee so that, by law, pensions will rise each year by prices, earnings, or 2.5%, whichever is the highest. Like all of you, I have campaigned hard against post office closures, and I'm now delighted to be the Minister looking after a £1.34 billion government investment, not just to protect our post office network, but to get it on a sound financial footing for mutualisation. And then at the last general election, in 2010, I campaigned for fairer tax on my newspapers, on my leaflets, on my target letters, on the doorsteps, in press releases, in every media interview. It was the #1 policy that I hammered home again and again. Fairer taxes that put money back in your pocket. It was our top priority. And conference, we have delivered. With the big jump in the tax threshold coming this April, we are within touching distance of our promise to make the first £10,000 you earn tax-free. 20 million people, let me say that again, 20 million people on low and middle incomes will have a tax cut of £550. 2 million of the lowest paid workers will no longer have to pay any income tax at all. And in the long term, we want to bring that threshold right up so that you only pay tax on income above the full-time minimum wage. But just as importantly, at the other end of the spectrum, we need to ensure that the wealthy pay their fair share. Paying tax isn't optional for hard-working folk up and down the country. And there is no reason why someone who has vast amounts of money should end up paying little more than those who are struggling to make ends meet. That's why we've raised capital gains tax, we've closed down legal loopholes, and we're cracking down on those who are, let's face it, cheating the system and trying to evade tax. We're investing £900 million to tackle tax avoidance. And by the end of the Parliament, this would bring in an extra £7 billion in revenue. Times are tough, and so it is more important than ever that we continue to fight for fairer tax to help hard-working people. But fighting for it is not enough. We need to tell people about it too. It was the late and great David Penhaligon who said, if you believe in something, write it on a piece of paper and stick it through a letterbox. This was a man who knew about winning elections in difficult times. Despite the unpopular Lib Lab Pact, not to mention a conspiracy to murder charge against the party leader, could be worse, he increased his majority from 464 to almost 9,000. So I challenge you, conference. Rediscover your inner Penhaligon. Take our fairer tax message out there and repeat it again and again. Tell people on the doorsteps and deliver it through letterboxes. And when you come back from delivering your fairer tax focus, I'd love to have a copy from my box of leaflets. Thank you very much.